I want to ask you 3 questions. First, the Bible in Colossians 4, Paul said, pray that God would open a door of utterance that I might make known the mystery of the gospel. Now, Paul's a lion for God, but he had to pray for an open door. Now, I said, can you tell me, you've got a church of 100 adults, name to me the people in your congregation that before they put their feet on the ground in the morning, before they eat breakfast, before they walk out the door, give me the names of who in your church utters a prayer heavenward and says, God, open a door of utterance for me. He said, well, we don't have anybody like that. Now look, if nobody in the church is praying for souls to be saved, what's the chances they're going to be saved? I said, I have a second question. I said, let's suppose by some strange happenstance, somebody comes up to one of your church members, grabs him around the neck, shakes him and says, what must I do to be saved? Give me the names. Give me the names of the people in your church that have a gospel tract in their pocket, in their purse, in their lunchbox, in their glove compartment, within arm's reach of a John Romans or a gospel tract, that if somebody begged them, that they could give them the gospel. He said, well, I think Mabel, we have a lady, I think she's got some in the bottom of her purse. We have one lady, I think, that carries tracts. Now listen, this is pitiful. I said, all right, my third question, I'm done, but hey, just suppose you take me to 10 of your church members. Take me to their address. You don't have to say a word. I don't care. I'll knock the door of the people on the left and the people on the right, and I'm just going to ask them. Do you know that there's a Christian living next door to you? Do you know there's somebody there who's going to heaven who thinks you're going to hell? Have they ever asked you to church, invited you to a Christmas program, had you over for a cookout, brought you a piece of pumpkin pie, slipped a gospel tract in a Christmas letter? Do you know that a Christian lives next door to you? You know what he said? Well, you know, in this day and age, we don't talk to our neighbors. We don't even know who our neighbors are. Now listen. So what? So when the Bible says, some have not the knowledge of God, I speak this to your shame. In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when people were being saved, people were praying for an open door. People were carrying gospel tracts. People were witnessing to their neighbor. And God told you as a pastor, do the work of an evangelist to Timothy. And I said, I won't stand it. You won't have me in and have me preach a meeting, and then you look me across the table in the face and say, you know, people aren't being saved anymore like they used to be. Maybe God's not doing his work. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Let's get back to doing what we know we're supposed to do. The results are always in God's hands. They've always been. We don't conjure up the numbers to get hides on the wall, but don't complain if you're failing to do what God told you to do, and then somehow shake your fist at God and say, well, where'd you go? What are you doing? He's saying to us, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm not big on laying guilt trips on people, but the more I go around, the more I see this, and the pastors are discouraged, and I'm trying to get them back in the fight. Pick them up, dust them off, pat them on the bottom. Get back out there fighting. People are dying and going to hell. We got to get them saved.